Hey there. Today I feel called to share with you 5 magical ways that horses can help you heal, grow, and elevate your life. And I want to give a little, not disclaimer, but clarification or caveat that what I call the medicine of the horse, the multidimensional medicine of the horse, and the way that I work with that with my clients worldwide, that it doesn't have to be done like physical in person in the flesh. While that is very powerful and probably the most powerful way, although that could be argued, it is not the only way to work with the medicine of the horse, is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, that being said, because I am a gifted channel and I channel what some have called embodied horse medicine, okay? That's for a whole other conversation. But before I dive into the 5 magical ways that horses, or the medicine of the horse, let's say, can actually help you heal, grow, and elevate your life, I want to take a moment to, 1, thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me here. Welcome to the herd. If you're new, welcome back. If you're returning, and I want to thank you in advance if you receive value, and you're vibing with my vibe. Again, welcome to the herd, welcome to the tribe, and thank you for liking, subscribing if you haven't already, and sharing the love with someone you think might be interested. So, that being said, these 5 magical ways that the medicine of the horse can truly help you transform on so many levels. We're going to start off with, and of course I love teaching with acronyms, so we're going to start off with the H, and the H has to do with the heart connection, right? That limbic resonance, that emotional resonance that we have with horses. Of course, their heart size is greater, but they can actually feel our heartbeat and our emotions and our energy, like from, I think it's something like 50 foot away. So I know that my horse, we're so connected, like, anyway, we won't go into that now, but that heart connection, that heart resonance, that emotional resonance with your emotions, with your limbic system, with your memories, like all of those pieces, horses truly are tapped into that. I believe more than we even know. And I want to take a moment actually to go on a little tangent here, and by the way, and I'm only mentioning this because the tangent has to do with what the book that I have back there. It's called Of Women and Horses, and it's by Gawani Ponyboy, a Native American horse trainer. And that picture on the cover is me and my very first horse, Skipper. And the whole story of how we got on the cover, I'm not going to get into that now, but my hair is just falling out. But what I do want to share is that there is this, especially for women and horses, like I've done trainings on this in the past, but there's been this, what I call epic love affair between women and horses for eons. And while I'm not saying there aren't men who, love horses and, do amazing things with them and are connected and all that, there is something very different about that bond with horses. And hence this book, which I want to read you the title of, Women and Horses, More Expressions of the Magical Bond. And so even this book, who was written by a man, or put together by a man, however to say, anyway, like is like acknowledging with that book, right, that sacred bond, that magical bond that women and horses have. And in my experience, and in case you're new to me, I am a trailblazing equinepreneur since 1999, having gone from renegade vet for almost 2 decades to my horse shaman era, and fast forward now to my equine mystic and soul guide for entrepreneurs era. But what I want to share is about this really deep and sacred resonance and bond that women have from my own personal experience, and why I have experienced firsthand like their medicine and their magic, and how in many ways the medicine of the horse saved my life. And so this resonance that I want to talk about has to do with horses being prey animals. And so not only are they like hyper vigilant, right? They're always in tune, wildly attuned, right, to their environment, and highly intuitive and empathic and sensitive, and, you know, like amazing, right? Because they are hardwired for survival, right? That's the first piece. The second piece is that, like women, they have had in the past, like, thank God, as we've evolved the consciousness in terms of our relationship with horses and the way they are trained. Like in the past, they would say they were broken, right? Now it's more about partnership and mutual love, trust, and respect, which obviously is more what I vibe with. But, you know, and even myself, I've been on that journey throughout my history with horses. But what I can say is that as I learned and became more conscious around, you know, like horsemanship from a more aware perspective, right? Like I like to joke and say that when I ride, not only is it consensual, right? There's this mutual agreement or consent, but my preferred way to ride is like bareback, bitless, barefoot. I mean, him, not me, but anyway. So what am I trying to say? So there's this shift, right, with the horses where we're becoming more conscious, and it's not about breaking their spirit. It's not about using like force or all of these like, you know, bits and spurs and whips and all the things that, you know, have been for many years so like accepted, are, you know, becoming, you know, like we're becoming more conscious to know that that's actually can be creating pain and, you know, a level of cruelty or abuse. Now I will say, depending where you're at on the journey, you know, like it's always in the hand of the person using it, just like if you want to get in the conversation of guns and all of that, right? Like who the person using it. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. So I'm not going to go down that track, but, you know, horses have been like suppressed. They've been beaten. They've had their spirits broken, right? You know, in the more traditional methods, okay? And similarly, women have been suppressed. We have had our spirits broken. We have had our, you know, rights and all of that, and especially depending on your, you know, background and upbringing and all of that. And I'm firstborn of immigrant family, half Chinese, half Indian, or Chindian as I like to say. And, you know, women are also, this is the whole feminine rising, right? Women are reclaiming and remembering who they are and reclaiming their power and their wisdom and all the things that have been suppressed for so long. And, you know, it is said that the reason that, that happened for us was because we are that powerful, right? And that's why we need to remember who the F we are. We need to remember our power. And so similarly, horses are that powerful. I mean, you know, it's amazing, you know, that this animal who can be 1,000 or 2,000 pounds, depending on the breed, right, can, like, the things that they actually have allowed us to do and helped us with, whether it's in war or travel or, you know, carrying us on their back or sport or performance or whatever it is that we humans are asking them to do and our agenda is, right? And for me, it's been shifting more and more and more over the years with the, you know, raised consciousness into simply like communing and partnering as friends and companions and guides. And, you know, again, like, you know, I'm not going to say I haven't totally like given up on, you know, the gift of getting to sit on their back, but we are at, I believe, you know, a time where the respect and the acknowledgement and the honoring of their gifts and their wisdom and what they're here to teach us and share with us, you know, are, especially during these turbulent times. Anyway, and by the way, and I actually haven't finished the book yet, but highly recommend it. It's called Flying Lead Changes by Wendy. Oh my gosh, I don't have it here. I will I'm sure you can Google it, but really, really powerful horse like medicine and just teachings around horses, how horses can really help us during these times. So again, I am a little bit all over the place, but this first magical way that horses can help us heal with this heart connection and the sacred bond, and what I am expanding into calling this vibrational resonance, is such a gift. Because as someone, now I'm going to take things a little deeper here, okay? As someone, me personally, who's been part of the Me Too movement, and have had, honestly, decades of complex PSTD and, you know, experienced a lot of trauma in this lifetime and others. And so, you know, there's that, again, that resonance, that victim vibration, if you will, which I've been working on for a very long time, shifting, and I've grown in so many ways, and there's always a new level. And again, because horses are prey animals, there's that like connection of, you know, unspoken bond of understanding what it's like to have your spirit broken, to be asked to perhaps like do something that maybe you don't want to do and have it expected of you and have it be non-consensual, right? I mean, all of these pieces, again, women and horses, on a soul level, on an energetic level, on a physiological level, they can kind of get each other, okay? And so this is why I truly believe that we have that bond and why we're such sacred partners to do the work of growth and elevation and healing and beyond. Okay, so that is the first one. I don't know, let's see the time if we'll get through all of them today. We may have to make this a 2-part video, because that was a lot for the first one. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to do the second one, and then I think we might split this. So the second magical way that horses can help you heal, grow, and elevate your life is the observation piece, the expanded awareness piece, the ultimately through that learning how to own your energy. So horses have peripheral vision, right? And they're always observing their environment. As I mentioned before, they are highly attuned to their environment because they're hardwired for survival as prey animals, right? So that being said, they're very observant, right? And they're also very intuitive, sensitive, empathic, hypervigilant, again, because they're hardwired for survival. So they're not only observing physically what's going on in the surroundings, but they also, when, a person enters their space, they are going to be like masters at detecting and often reflecting the energy of that human, right? There's a saying, to leave your stuff at the gate, right? Because you don't want to bring that in. Similar how you might not want to expose your kids. If you've had a bad day, you don't want to take it out on them and bring that energy to them. In the same way, horses are going to pick up our stuff, right? They are going to pick up on our stuff, and depending on the individual, even pick up our stuff. And that's also a conversation for another time. There are 5 energetic archetypes that are based on the 5 elements in Chinese medicine that I have developed for both horses and humans, and the way that we channel energy. And so the empath is one of them, right? And so while I do believe we are all empathic and we all, have these different archetypes within us, often our individual blueprint or wiring, if you will, or constitution can make us more prone to, one or the other, if that makes sense. Anyway, conversation again for another time. But this observation piece is so key, because that awareness on our part, if we lean into that medicine, which when we're around them, right, in real life physically, you really learn to get present fast, because you are, again, sharing space with this, 1,000+ pound animal, and for safety's sake, and then, communing, and whatever it is that your, chosen thing is that you're doing with them, whether you're communing, or whether you're wanting to ride, or you have a specific discipline, whatever that is, right? You really need to get present, right? Because again, you're working with such a huge animal, and they're going to give you feedback, moment by moment, powerful feedback as to, what you may be asking them to do, and whether you are congruent. Maybe you're physically perhaps asking them to do a certain activity, but emotionally or energetically, your entire body is not on board, right? You're not embodied. This body, mind, and spirit, right? That energetic congruency, if you will. They will let you know whether it's on the ground or on their back. They're going to let you know if you are not energetically congruent, especially if they're reflecting. And, there is some controversy amongst the conscious horsemanship world around whether or not the reflection piece is true or real. And what I have to say to that is it depends on the horse. And again, that's one of the 5 archetypes, the reflector. So at the end of the day, they're always going to give you feedback, and whether you want to call it reflection or not is I believe on a case-by-case basis. But I they are going to give you feedback, live in the flesh feedback, when you are, again, asking them to do something, or they're, reacting to something or responding to something in their environment. And so when we can learn to expand our awareness and be more observant, not only of our environment, but also our inner environment, our inner world, right? Our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Are we thinking one thing and then our heart is saying something else? Is our body language, right? That unspoken language, is our body language saying one thing, and what's coming out of our mouth is something different, right? We can learn to, as we expand our awareness, to notice when we're being out of alignment, when we're not being congruent. And this is a practice, obviously, and takes like the commitment and the practice. And it's a new way of being, and it's something that we can apply not only in the barn or out in the arena or the pasture, but also to all areas of our life and business, for that matter. So those are the first two magical ways that horses, specifically what I like to call the medicine of the horse, can, again, help you heal, grow, and transform and elevate your life. And if you have had any experiences related to what I've shared, I'd love you to share that down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and stay tuned for part 2, where I will reveal the 3 other magical ways that horses can help you thrive. And so with that, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I love you. Ciao for now. Namaste.